Hey folks, time once again to do some CSS battles from the past. These are daily targets from April 10th, 11th, and 12th of 2024. Let's get right to it. I guess we have an eyeball here, huh? A rounded rectangle like this always seems easier to do as an element, so we'll start with that. I think the rest of it I can do with the background on the body. So we'll start with margins, and it's not very tall. What is it, like 20 pixels, maybe 30? Let's put an initial background of that light blue, and let's push it into place using margins. 6, 7, 8, 9, 95. Sure. How about 50? 60, 70, 80, 90, 92. And then a border radius to get that look. Let's try a Q unit. 10Q, 20Q. 20Q is fine. Alright, so now what we've got in this eyeball is a radial gradient. That seems pretty straightforward. If we do it at 50% 0, then we've got dark blue, light blue, and dark blue again. So that's what that looks like. So let's do circle like that, and then we got to give some numbers to this. How about, let's try Q units. I've not had great luck with with matching targets that way, but we'll try it. Oh, and it looks like we need the rest of the color as well, so we'll do that. Okay, so that's an eyeball. It's too small. That's fine. Let's move it into place. So, but to do that, we just want 0 and then 50 pixels. Start moving it down. 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 110, 20, 130, 125. That seems to be lining up right, so let's adjust those numbers. This number needs to get bigger. 90, 88, 87, 86, 85, 84, 85. Again, see that little bit of edge just seems a little bit wrong. 5, 50, 51, 52, 53. We could also try probably percentages. How about 20Q, 21Q? Let's submit that and see if we're close. I'm not liking the way that looks totally. I feel like we've got an edge there that's not quite right. So let's abandon the Q. Let's use percentages. About 10%, 20, about 2%, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No good. How about 15 pixels? How about 20 pixels? There, okay. And then the next number. So is it possible that we've got a problem here? 3, no, 4, 5, yeah, okay. Or is it possible this is aligned wrong? -1 pixel? Yeah, no, it should be 0. Also, 50% will work just fine as well. It's the same thing, but 0 in our case is where we're putting the background, because we have the background size is auto, which is really also a synonym for what? 400 pixels wide, 300 pixels tall. We just do the position because we're just using the defaults and trying to write as little code as possible. Okay, so 50 pixels and 80 pixels. 85, there, it's different. Let's submit that. Let's see if we're close. It's also possible this border radius could be a problem. Doesn't look like it, but it might be. Let's see, there's 100% match. So using the pixel values got us where we wanted to go. So, you know, that is satisfactory. It would be great to be able to use those, those abbreviated units. Save some characters, but we can't. We didn't. That's all good. All right, I'm going to change the body to be the ampersand selector. Just a little nicety. All right, next. Oh, not submitted yet. We will wait. We will wait for that. Oh, little slowness. There we go. Oh, and it's a better score than I've gotten in the past, so we'll take that. All right, next. Oh, this guy. If there ever was a clip path, this seems like the kind of thing that would be a clip path. So we'll start. I don't think we're going to put anything on the body, and we're going to create a linear gradient. That is that, and then transparent. So that's the initial. So let's now use margins again, 4, 5 to push this into place. 7, 8. We're just shaping this div so that it's got the right dimensions. 2, and I guess if I do black, I can see what that is. So is it 200 tall? 210? Yeah, it's 200 tall. Cool. So this linear gradient needs to have a size to it because it needs to repeat. We could do all the color stops. We could do this orange, transparent, or the yellow, orange, transparent, and orange. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 color stops. So we're going to make it repeat. So let's do that. And that's pretty significant size of the orange is much more than the thin yellow stripe. So my usual technique is to have a dimension there, 0, and then let's give it a height. So we need to be, and because of the way this is, we can do 1% and then have a height of 100 pixels and then do no repeat. So now we get that very thin background, right? And we do need actually to put it at 0, 0, don't we? Yeah, we do. So I was wrong about that. Okay, so 100 pixels looks like it's too tall, and I'll just go ahead and do 50% so you can see what that background is. And I'm using black, not transparent, because otherwise I can't see exactly what the scope of it is. So let's try what, 70, 80, 70, 60. Is that 65? 70. 70 looks right. Okay, so we want that looks like it could be right. So now if I let it repeat, in theory, we got it just about there. Let's try a Q value. I don't know if it's going to work. 85, 86, 87, 70 Q. 60 Q. Not QQ. 61, 62, 3, 4, 5. How about pixels? 60 pixels. There, and that just looks perfect. All right, so how do we get this triangle cut out of it? I believe the right way to do that, and certainly the funnest for me, is a clip path. Let's do that. It's a polygon with, it's really just a rectangle with an additional piece, right? 0, 0 is the top left corner. 100% 0 is the top right corner. 100% is the bottom right corner, and you can see that there. That's your triangular clip path. Then we got that middle one, which I think is 50% over and 50% down. You can't see any change there because it's intersecting the rest of it. And then the bottom left corner is 0, 100%. Pow. And that is a perfect match. So we will take that. Are there other things that we can tune here? Let's submit. Make sure that we're in good position here. Yeah, we're in good position there. All right, let's minify and unit replace, and we're done with this guy. I believe I've got 50% as the unit here, and I could just do 1%, and it has the same effect. And if I do, repeat X, you can see that. Well, we don't need the repeat. I think I already showed that to you. That's all good. We can trim off what's a few final characters, but kind of don't. They don't matter super much in terms of score. Probably they will give me a slightly better score, but they're not significant to me. All right, this guy. This is one of those complicated shapes that simplicity eludes me every time I do this. Do one like this. I do think that we can use symmetry here in a way that's nice. So I think this and this element, these two elements are the same element, one flopped on its side. So I think what I'm going to do is create the middle stripe first, because I think that's the kind of the interesting one. Kind of gradient, and then it's thin and narrow, so it's going to be at like 30 pixels wide and down 125 pixels or something. And then we have the light color 270 degrees around, which is really 75%, and then the red. And we're not seeing anything because we're missing a closing parentheses, which is just one of those signs that CSS is brittle. Don't be daunted, just keep trying. All right, so 140 pixels down is way too much. How about 40? How about 50? How about 60? Okay, and then 140, 50, 60, 70, 80. 185 is right. Okay, so we need to go down more. 125, 135, 45, 50, 60. You can see that diff getting to be right. 180 pixels. All right, that's our first step. The next thing we're going to do is create an element, the element with a height and width, and it's going to be something like 160. And I'm going to do this background of pink. So what do I need to do to flip it to get him into place? I kind of want to do display flex, but I think I don't need to. I think instead what I'm going to do is a margin. So margins will move this into place. And then that also means I think that what I want to do is not set a width. So I'll use width, use margins only to control the location of this. I could do this as a display flex. That would also, and then I would need to set a width on the elements. But in this case, I sort of like this technique. So let's choose a better color, the final color for contrast. And actually, do we want to do borders here? And actually, do we want to use a clip path to cut out the pieces of this? We might. Would that be a win? I don't know if it's really a win. I feel inclined to do it that way. So let's do let's start moving into place. So 100 too much, 60, yeah, 60. And then I think we need a negative margin over here, -8 gets us there. And then this 200, 210, 20, 222. Okay, and then the height of that, 150, 60, 70, 80. All right, so that's our guy. So the question is, let's make another one. Let's go ahead and make the other one, because that's fun. So P, the second one, has that selector, and we're going to flop the margins. So I'm just going to copy them just as they are, but I happen to know that if I do move that there and move this here and then make this negative, then I can get the same element, and with a different top margin, 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So now I have the same thing there. So if I do it this way, how little of a background can I do to have this, to create this shape? And do I want to do a border? So I can do a conic gradient. Could I create a conic gradient to do this? Yes, I could. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then, so I'm going to do a conic gradient and a clip path. So I'll try to call my shot here. Let's start with the conic gradient. So conic gradient, or can I? Is that actually, that's actually not going to repeat correctly unless I do a border, in which case maybe this is not a great solution. So let's not do the clip path, but we will use borders. Will we? If we use borders, then we have to have border colors. So we need that to be colored, and then if we do that with border, yeah, see, so there's no simple fix. There's no real simple fix for this one. So let's just do it one at a time. Let's do a conic gradient. That from what? From what is it from? It's I want to do it from 180 degrees, and then it's at some value like 100 pixels over and 20 pixels down. And then it's transparent, 25%, and then this color from 180 degrees at, and we don't see anything because why? Oh, there it is. We actually do see it. There it is. So that's the concept. If we move this over more, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then this vertical number needs to be a little bigger, 30. Okay, so that gets a big chunk of that. And then if I have it repeat, if I put it at 0, 0, and then give it a height, so 100%, 80%, 81, 82, 83, 84, 83, something like that. Oh, if I do it that way, then I still need to do, then I need to account for the rest of this. Yep. So I don't really want to repeat. So let's not do that. We'll just leave that as is. And then is this shorter than just doing this? I still need the at. That might be a little shorter. So we'll do this, 50%, 0, 75%. It might be slightly shorter. It's very similar in terms of the number of characters. All right, so what do I need to do to get? Oh, well, and let's do the thing that I haven't mentioned, with scale -1. Yeah, on the second one. So now we know that we've got the other thing. So then we might be able to do is reuse this conic gradient on the body. Maybe. And this is pretty verbose. Okay, so what's that look like? I'm overthinking all of this. Let's just put the things there. It's all good. We need this shape. And how do we do that? What's the simplest? We've got a shape like this and a shape like this. And strictly speaking, yeah. Okay, so here's new technique. Let's create a linear gradient. This is gonna seem dumb, but trust me. No. Again, the complexity of this invites all kinds of arcane solutions, and I don't end up really liking any of them very much. But let's do another conic gradient. Which is at 3 pixels, 40 pixels or something. And then it's transparent, 75%. And then it's orange, or the darker color. And then we move it over. 40 pixels over, 60 pixels down. All right, so basically we're making this guy here. And you know, it's fine. All right, not excited about it. I think it's part of the learning process, right? I would like to have an efficient way to do this, and I don't have one yet. So that's why we do this every day, because it's good practice. And there's your next shape. All good. So what's the last piece? Is it another linear? Is it another conic gradient? You know, why not do everything with a conic gradient? Why not? Okay, here we go. Conic gradient, and this one is longer than it is wide, so let's say it's 50 wide and 30 pixels down, and then we'll move this one down. And we can't see anything. Why? The reason is because we've got the trailing comma. We might be okay. There. All right. There it is. So I'm move it down more. 1, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then it needs to be wider. So that's going to be what? 50, 60, 70, 50, 50. And that could be it if we move this over. About 90, 95. And that's a solution. I'm going to try not to be too whiny about how long this solution is. We solved the problem. We matched the design and very cleverly deployed many conic gradients. Is there a more efficient way to do this? Absolutely. Absolutely. Each one of these could be elements. You could use borders. You could use borders just on some sides. There's like kind of no end to the ways you could do this. You could consider this inner space to be its own element, do it as this P element. You could create them over a larger pattern and then do an inset box shadow on the body to limit it. There are these stripes, I think, are all the same, so you could somehow utilize that. So many choices. So many choices. But this is how we did it today. So let's minify, unit replace. and submit, and we're done with this guy. This one from the 12th of April 2024. It's a better score than I've gotten in the past, so I don't know what I'm complaining about. I will try to stop complaining about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed these CSS battles from the past. The eyeball, I guess a flag banner with the clip path, and then this elaborate symbol. Looks a little bit like the old V TV show, the very, very old V TV show's logo, just a little bit. Not a lot though, not a lot. And I guess in theory, this guy, you could do a covering. Well, you do a conic gradient, right? Conic gradient, and do transparent for 135 degrees, and then yellow for 90 degrees after that. So 225 degrees, and then transparent, and get that shape. Is that any shorter? Probably not. Is it any better? I don't know. So that's that shape, right? We created this dude. And then what's that look like? You could also do, so you could do a from 135 degrees, and then only do one color stop, and that's what that looks like. So so it's coming around from, there's your from, and then it's doing yellow for 225 degrees. But if you do from 135 degrees and then do 25%, that's 90 degrees as well. Excuse me. Well, let's reset our background there. Unit place, minify, resubmit, and that's another solution to that guy. I don't usually go out of order like that, but it just occurred to me that it's mathematically, it's very straightforward to do a conic gradient, to do that covering to the repeating gradient. So that's another way you could do it. And then I guess further on that one, nah, we're done. Thanks for watching. Make a web page. CSS and HTML are great. Everybody's walking around with web browsers. They can look at web pages. So make a web page. All right. Take care. Have a good day.